Good afternoon or morning or whatever time of day it is that you are accessing this video. My name is Robin Fields and I will be your instructor for this course for 12 weeks. So welcome to composition, and in order to give you some basics on what we'll be doing, I want to do a short video to talk about some big ideas that you need to be thinking about as you're going through the class. The first thing I want you to think about is every day we communicate in a variety of ways. And there are four basic purposes for communicating: persuading, where you try to influence another's thoughts or actions; explaining; narrating, where you tell a story or maybe even entertain; and then describing. And a lot of times, or every time when you achieve one of those purposes, you're using words, images, sentence structures, gestures, punctuation. All those items have an impact on your message. And so you'll find that whether it's posting on social media or sending a letter to an employer, you will be using those strategies. And a lot of times that is subconscious. But this class is going to focus on paying attention to those strategies so that you'll become a better reader and a better writer. As we continue, an important term that you need to know is rhetoric, because we'll talk about rhetorical strategies, or you often hear about politicians and their rhetoric. And rhetoric is the use of language, basically the way that you use words to help achieve your purpose. One of the first things that you need to understand when it comes to communication is Aristotle's rhetorical triangle. If you take a look at the triangle, you'll see that the top is the speaker, the bottom left is the audience, and then the bottom right is the subject. And all these things work together. You have to consider the relationship between or among the speaker and the audience and the subject, because that will determine what text or what words or what gestures or what images you'll use to achieve your purpose. More on that to come in the next couple of slides. When it comes to analyzing the rhetorical triangle, think about this. Speaking of triangles, so you have a sign that says toxic hazard. If you take a look at this sign, you'll see that the speaker, although it's not directly stated, is going to be a government or a municipality that's trying to warn people. The subject is, hey, pay attention because there's something dangerous up here. There's a toxic hazard. The audience is going to be anybody who is in the area who needs to watch out for this toxic hazard. The purpose is to persuade. The speaker is trying to warn people to stay away, don't come near here because this is toxic. The techniques that the author or the speaker uses to reach the audience, we'll take a look. You got a skull and crossbones. You got a triangle, which is a traditional, shape that recognizes or tries to warn people about some kind of traffic necessity or pattern to watch out for. And you've got these big bold letters: toxic hazard. And black and yellow, maybe it's a Hawkeye fan, maybe not. But the point is that the speaker is using colors that are not bright, that are not whimsical, but are attention getting and trying to warn you of a danger ahead. So all those strategies, the font, the skull and the crossbones, the triangle, the colors, they all work together for the speaker to achieve the purpose of warning his or her audience to stay away. Here's another one. This one, the speaker is going to be the traffic controllers or the Department of Transportation in Boston. And so the subject is they're trying to warn people, which is the purpose, to warn people, to persuade them to use their blinker. And the main strategy, of course, is the sign, but look at if you read the sign to yourself or out loud, use ya blinka. It's supposed to be humorous. It's supposed to be funny. And as we all know, humor can be a device to try to get people to do things. Sometimes there can be a risk involved with humor because it can maybe prevent people from actually getting the message. But in this case, I think it's effective because they're using humor to try to convince the audience, again, drivers in Boston, to use their blinker. If this had been put in Iowa, this sign probably wouldn't be as effective because we don't talk with that kind of an accent. But in Boston, where they do, that sign is effective. Are words even necessary? Sometimes they're not, but take a look at this next example. So this is Time Magazine, and the speaker, of course, is going to be Time Magazine. The subject is Adele, and the audience is going to be Time Magazine readers, of course. So typically it's a mainstream audience, and the techniques that they use to get your attention and to try to influence you so they can inform you about Adele, we'll take a look. So we've got Adele wearing a bright red shirt. Red is a very passionate color. It's reinforced in her lipstick. And notice that Time Magazine even complements that by using the color red. But they're trying to say that Adele is more important than Time Magazine because her picture is in front of the nameplate. Now, I want you to take a look at this next slide. Now look, it's the same cover, or is it? Take a look. This is the original, and this is one I kind of doctored up. But if you take a look at it, notice the period. Here on the one I doctored up, there is no period. And the effect is, when you have a period like that, Adele, one word, period, it creates more of a force, or says that Adele is more of a force. It's like a mic drop. And so the point is that you'll see that images can also be powerful ways of being influential in communicating, not just with the colors and placement, but also with the punctuation here. One little period makes such a bigger statement than not having a period. And this idea of punctuation and images are things that we'll talk about in this class. So there you have a review of Aristotle's rhetorical triangle with the speaker and the subject and the audience. So you consider those three corners first, and then you decide what text, what strategies you will use to achieve that purpose of persuading, of explaining, narrating, or describing. All these things work together. There's so many strategies out there. If you were to Google rhetorical strategies or devices, you would come up with an extensive list. But our class is going to focus on reading and writing and consuming different ways of analyzing a message or even putting a message together. So that by the end of this class, you'll be not only a better writer and reader, but also a better thinker. So if you ever have any questions, please don't hesitate to contact me via email. I'm looking forward to this semester together. So if there's anything I can do to make it better for you, please let me know. And thanks for paying attention to our first lesson together.